defendant told you last week, Your Honor, that he killed Preston by stabbing him. He confessed to you that he murdered Preston. Mr. McCorkindale left out, however, some of the details in his confession of what he actually did to Preston. After taking Preston's car from him and driving up to Horsehaven Hills to a remote dump site, Mr. McCorkindale pulled an 8-inch knife out of his boot and stabbed Preston through the neck. As Preston slumped over, Mr. McCorkindale then kneed Preston in the stomach and plunged a knife through his chest and into his heart. He then stabbed him again through the abdomen. Mr. McCorkindale told investigators that blood was everywhere as he tried to run and get away from him. He said that Preston was out of breath and was coughing up blood as he tried to run. He said that Preston fell on the ground and was scraping and pawing at the ground to try to get away from him. It was at this point that his so-called friend left him dying on the ground with blood pouring out of him, that he decided that that wasn't enough. He decided that he needed to finish him off. Mr. McCorkindale then took Preston's own car and drove over him with it. He said that he could hear the bones crushing as he drove over him. But yet that wasn't enough, Your Honor. He backed up and he drove over him again and again and again. The scene where Preston's body is covered in figure eights. Mr. McCorkindale made loops, driving in circles, crushing Preston's body. Mr. McCorkindale then fled the scene. He left his friend behind, his crushed body lying in the field near a garbage dump, while Mr. McCorkindale went home to come up with a plan on how to destroy the evidence. The defendant returned the next day, wrapped Preston's dead body in a tarp, and took him out to a gravel pit near Sunnyside, where he left Preston in the trunk, soaked the car and Preston in gas, and then torched it and destroyed all of the evidence. Witnesses saw the car burning, and it was eventually recovered by the police. In the trunk of the completely burned up car, the officers found my nephew. In a letter by the funeral home that prepared Preston's body for burial, the funeral director noted that Preston's remains came from the medical examiner in a small cardboard box, a box smaller than a shoebox. It contained a small piece of skull, some small bone fragments, and a small mass of burned tissue. After being stabbed and crushed to death by the defendant, he was virtually completely incinerated by Mr. McCorkindale in the car fire.